Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel to the XRP holders. Ohio House passes bill to exempt Bitcoin payments under $200 from taxes. This is more interesting than we realize, and this should really give us once again a little bit of a more clarity, more of a better understanding where the market is really going. And you're starting to see big news like this happening more than we have ever seen in the past. And this is something we should not be ignoring. Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel to the XRP holders. Exactly, and I repeat exactly what I projected last night and pretty much at the beginning of the week has been happening. So today is the FOMC day. Today was the FOMC day. No rate cut change, but look at what's happening with the market. Market has seen a little bit of an uptick. Exactly what I was projecting. I said last night that, I think we're already starting to see the market preparing itself, for that rate cut, not to happen. And that's exactly what ended up happening. Market was on the downside, but today, market has picked up and we can see that clearly right in front of us. XRP price right now, $2.17. We'll talk about the price later on, but before we get into any further, guys, just a quick disclaimer. Anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in cryptocurrencies. So look at this. The dot-com boom era is coming for crypto. Best believe Wall Street wants more. This example right here is of Circle. As we know, Circle has been making major headlines. It is a competitor in a way to Ripple. And why am I sharing this? Because this is a cryptocurrency company that has gone public. And their stock has been booming. Literally, their stock has been booming, and it's bringing so much attention to the crypto industry, especially crypto companies that have yet to go public but have hinted. And this is where Ripple comes on board. You can see this for yourself. Entry $31 pre-sale for Circle, and right now it's sitting at $171 per share. I personally think we're in that boom phase, and we have been seeing the internet bubble and how we were seeing a lot of comparison to that dot-com bubble is going to happen with the crypto. And this is exactly a perfect example of what we're seeing happening right now. Circle has gone and it's brought in so much attention. Now, I think more and more companies, as we do start to see more and more companies going onto Wall Street and, doing their IPOs, especially the big boys, I think it's going to attract a lot of attention because people will speculate more and more on this, which could bring in a major boom. And, reminds me of the ICO days. Shout out to, the ICO, days, people that have been here from the beginning. ICOs gave people crazy amounts of gains, but this is when it comes to the big boys where things just go insane. And is Ripple really looking at this? You'd be surprised. Ripple is more than aware, and I think they're strategically moving. In my personal opinion, we're going to see multiple companies within the crypto industry take advantage of this. Obviously, at the end of the day, I think not all of these companies are going to, thrive, in my honest opinion. I think there's going to be some big ones that are going to reach crazy valuations in the future. But, due to the hype, I think, we could see a lot of attention coming on Wall Street, when it comes to more IPOs for these companies. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. At the end of the day, this is just my own personal opinion, but really showing you guys how crazy of a moment this really is for the entire space. But moving forward, look at this. The launch of an XRP physical backed ETF by 3iQ on the Toronto Stock Exchange today marks the beginning of dozens of ETFs to flow. Canada is really stepping the game. And I said this in my other update as well. Canada is literally making shocking moves towards the digital asset space. And I think, this is just a start for Canada to, maybe even launch indexes, maybe even tokenized assets. And on top of that, just bringing in a lot of clarity, towards that crypto industry. So are we still going to start hearing more about crypto coming out of Canada? Maybe, tax exemption for, people that are involved in crypto. Again, this is speculation, but is that something that's next? Because, of course, we need to understand they did have a new prime minister recently that has gone on, and taken over after the old one has resigned. So we're going to see how that works. But, Canada is making big moves. and we should not be ignoring this. Yes, Canadian market is not as big as, the United States, but it is not small either. It brings in more attention, it gives people a chance to, get XRP into their portfolio. And as if you don't know, Bitcoin's first ever spot ETF was launched in Canada. And then look what followed. Look what followed. We had obviously, the Bitcoin ETF getting approved in the States, and then it just went crazy after that, Ethereum as well. So this just gives me an understanding as to which way we're going. And a lot of people might be looking at the price right now and saying, it's not going up. But believe it or not, these big transactions do tend to happen OTC. Once you start hearing, these big announcements coming on board, then, things really start heating up. And believe it or not, the price of XRP, where it's at right now, which a lot of people overlook, in the 38.2, we're in the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement level. And, multiple coins across the board are, still in the 78.6 or even lower. When you look at it from that angle, guys, you cannot deny XRP has been holding really good. I've been obviously talking about this day in, day out, and it is very, very important to note. But look at this. Every fund of this kind will be seeking to buy and hold XRP for the long term, driven by consumer demand for crypto. And speaking about consumer demand right now, people that are already involved in cryptocurrencies, that already understand, how crypto works, or, understand how exchanges work. In terms of that retail interest, yes, we did see a major retail uptake late last year. But right now, people that have already gone in, they're just pretty much holding. We're not seeing as much new money flowing in. But, with the ETF, that changes the game. And of course, once again, we should not be ignoring this. Is revolutionary to say the least. But look at the summary of Fed Chair Powell's comments. So we'll likely get to a place where rate cuts are appropriate. Feds will make a smarter decision if they wait a couple of months. Is this a clear signal? Fed will make smarter decisions if they wait a couple of months. Fed exempts a meaningful amount of inflation in coming months. Unemployment remains in a reasonable place. It will take time to see how large inflation effects will be. Fed inflation forecast for this year is higher due to tariffs. The Fed meeting is the definition of Fed pause. So very, very interesting takeaway from here, because of course, he has come out and also said, the economy is in a solid position. Big stuff. So as we know, the FOMC meeting, specifically the one in September, a lot of people have their eyes on. Is that going to be the time where you really start seeing a rate cut happening? Imagine the rate cut happens then. That aligns us perfectly for that altcoin season to begin just before. Because believe it or not, I know people are going to be like, well, we're already in September. The market is already going to be almost at the top. The altcoin season, this and that. Well, go look at what happened last year, late last year, how fast this market tends to move. And you don't need months for the crypto market to move. It literally takes a few weeks. And I think the timing would be perfect if we do see a rate cut happening in September. Moving forward, take a look at this. Shout out to Raw Powell, keeps trucking along, doing its debasement thing. It's 85% of all Bitcoin's price action is explained by global liquidity. Then B defined almost all the news and narrative is noise. Enjoy your weekend. You guys can see it's following, the M2 money supply. A lot of people overlook this. People take a look at, what's happening with the price of crypto, what's happening with this coin, look at the bigger picture. And I am very confident, again, this is my own personal opinion, a lot of people are not paying attention right now, but I think once comes the time where you see that rate cut with the way XRP is holding, I think we're going to smash past an all-time high faster than a lot of people expect. And once we get into the price discovery mode, of course, sky's the limit, and we'll see what happens from there on. So listen, guys, you don't want to be ignoring this. We're in the 38.2 with the way Bitcoin has been volatile over the course of the last few days, with the way the dominance is pretty much on the neckline of breaking towards a new yearly high, and yet you're still seeing XRP holding in the 38.2. This tells you how good it is holding. But again, let me know down below what you guys think. Thank you for all your support. We'll see you later from Crypto ZX, and peace out.